Welcome to the Secular Homeschool Revolution podcast. This is a space for progressive secular homeschoolers who are questioning the systems that we were taught and reimagining what home education and parenting can look like at home. We talk about learning and unlearning power, culture, and what it actually means to raise curious, critical thinkers in a world that is shaped by systems we didn't choose. I am your host, Ashley. A little bit about me is I've been homeschooling a while, and I have three kids who are 13, 9, and 5. I also am a co-founder of this incredible homeschool cooperative that is secular, diverse, and inclusive that focuses on a decolonized educational experience. And we recently expanded to a micro school. I'm so proud of the work that I get to do with the organization and the people in our community. And I feel even luckier that I get to expand my community with this podcast. And so thank you so much for being here today. Today's episode is pretty personal. It's basically me processing out loud or writing a love letter to myself as who I am as a parent now and who my inner child needed when I was younger. And this is not me trauma dumping, like, oh, it was just my childhood was this and that. But ultimately, there were things I didn't get, and I didn't expect homeschooling to pull that out. And I want to share that with you because you might not have a community or a safe person to share that with. And also it takes a layer of vulnerability to have the conversation. And on this platform, I want it to be something that you guys can relate to or see moments of yourself in. And this is me being vulnerable. Homeschooling definitely has impacted me way more than I expected. And if my story, go back and listen to my early episodes. It was a journey to get here. And so when I realized I can have like educational freedom and flexibility in schedule, and I get to truly follow my kids' interests and ultimately build a life that fits our values, I thought that was cool. That was great. It's true. And that might be your sole reason to homeschool. I love that for you. But what I really didn't expect was how much my inner child would get woken up through the process. And it happens when it's like degular moments. Like I could be packing my kids' snacks or taking them to an activity or just watching them get supported through something hard. And that's when it hits me. Those are the moments where it comes out of nowhere. And I'm like, why are my eyes getting wet? I just put grapes in the bag. What is happening? And it's not really about the grapes in the bag. And it's not about just my kids learning. It's me witnessing something that they're getting that I needed too. And I'm not saying, I don't want you to, I'm not being dramatic saying, oh my gosh, homeschooling, this journey has healed me. And I'm in therapy. I've done in and out of therapy for a long time. But I didn't even know I needed to access or touch those parts of myself to even acknowledge they needed to get healed. Yeah. And I feel like moments of healing show up when you're tired and you're having like you're up late trying to plan and make sure everyone's schedules are aligned, and you're like having an anxiety attack like, did I make the right choice? Are we supposed to be doing this journey, right? So yeah, I feel like this moment hit me really hard recently watching my middle kid, Cari, take her horseback riding lessons. Now, if Cari, she is afraid of animals, not scared, but like afraid. And so this year we did participate in the 12 winter nights of solstice and manifesting things for ourselves. And one of the things I found interesting that the one on the the 13th night that she had was her thing. It stated, I want to be less fearful of animals. And I thought her language was really interesting. She wanted to be less fearful. And to me, I processed that as she wanted to grow. Like she wanted to give herself space to grow. And I felt like that was a reasonable, attainable goal, versus she could have easily said, I want to be fearless. And I would have felt like that was a big jump, right? I would still support her, but so I was like, okay, I can do that. And I was like, let me put on my hat, coach, put me in, because this was the first time she had ever expressed this kind of interest. So luckily I was on Facebook and someone posted, I was like in a local homeschool Facebook group, and someone posted they signed their kid up for horseback riding lessons, but they didn't have enough riders and they didn't want it to get canceled, so on and so forth. So I was like, okay. And then I go into like mom mode, mom brain mode. And like, I'm asking myself 11 questions. Like, is it too much? Is this too soon? Am I pushing her? Is she going to feel like I'm pressuring her? Is she going to shut down? Is she going to panic? And my husband was like, chill out, bro. Just ask her. And I was like, yeah, you should just ask her. And so instead of me just deciding it for her, I offered it, and I was like, hey, I saw this. What do you think? And she did get real tense and was like, are you kidding me? And so I was like, I'm not pressuring you. I know this is something you were working towards, and horses can feel big and intimidating. I get it. Tell me what feels scary about it. What do you think could happen? What happens if we just try one class? We'll drive you there and you can sit in the car and watch. And she was like, okay, I can do that. And I was like, okay, then we can do that. And I was nervous and she was nervous. But you guys, what? My baby kept showing up. And week 1 was interesting because at the beginning they had to like brush the horse's coat. And initially she was like 3 feet away from the horse. It was like brushing air. And I was like, I was like, okay. I'm laughing now. I did not laugh in the barn that day. But anyway, so we get to week 2, we get to week 3. But like by week 4, I think that's when I really started. I felt like there was like a confidence shift. And I was like, okay, boo, I see you. And I also, guys, I want to say, I know I'm talking about one kid right now, but this is not a one kid story. I've had moments like this with my other kids. I do have 3 kids, and they're all going to remember their childhood differently, and the same roof, the same mom, the same love, but they have different needs, different personalities, different seasons in life, and they're probably all going to end up in therapy talking about me. So, I mean, I gave up a long time ago of trying to be perfect, but I told myself I wanted to be present and aware, right? And I've had these conversations, especially with the middle and the older kid. Like, you might hate me when you get older. You might question, especially when you start creating bigger friend groups, when you go off to the workforce or college and people are talking about their public education, private education experiences, and you're like, well, why didn't my mom let me have this or that? And I get it. Those are all going to be conversations, but I do want them to know that I tried, and I'm learning and growing, and I'll be open to receiving however they feel about me at those times. Or, and they might look at one and be like, what are you talking about? That was not our childhood. And then the other 2, you're looking at them crazy. So I get it, right? But we do try to have those conversations. And I do lean on the language that I try to parent equitably and not identically. I don't believe in what you do for one kid, you have to do for the other, because that's not fair. And in this season, she needed support through her fear. And I was so happy that I could be there to support her. And if I'm being honest, the support I was able to offer her is what why I'm sitting in a barn that smells like horse shit. And I'm like, why am I so emotional right now? It stinks. But the water was coming out of my eyes. So anyway, watching her grow week by week and then seeing week 8 happen, y'all, she walked different. Her posture was different. Her voice when she was doing the to the horse, it was confident. It was just steady. And I feel like the horse was trusting her. Oh, week 8. Oh, let me tell y'all, I don't know the other horse that she usually rides on. That horse wasn't available at that time. So on week 8, she got on a Mustang. And what I learned were Mustangs are a little wild. And this Mustang was a little sassy because she was pulling left and they wanted to go right. And so it was giving her push and pull, but she was confident. So that was the growth that happened. And most importantly, she stopped letting fear be the boss. So if she was able to do that at 9, and that really wasn't a skill that I didn't learn until adulthood, man, that was incredible. And I had to, I was trying to name the big feelings I was having when I was like processing all of this. And I realized I was grieving and healing at the same time. And I just kept thinking, this is what it looks like when a kid is supported through fear. This is what it looks like when a kid has someone who shows up and stays. And once I had language for that feeling, I realized week 8 wasn't the only time that I felt that. I felt it watching my kids do other things too. So like we got to go and live in Mexico for a while, and that was incredibly cool. And just seeing their freedom, and we're going to the different museums and we're traveling to different cities and trying all the foods, and we were staying out way too late on Sunday and Wednesday nights for the baile, and we were having the time of our lives. And yeah, it was just it's it was just a moment where I'm like, okay, this was not like 9-year-old version of myself would have never envisioned this type of life for myself, even as like a kid. And I realized even like birthday parties, man, I love the heck out of my kids' birthday parties. Like, oh, it's a celebration. And they always think of such out of the box ways to celebrate. And I'm always like, sure, that's definitely possible. My husband's like, are you sure? Let's come back down to reality. But the biggest thing is like sometimes when it's their first time, usually it's my first time to experience those things too. And I'm not being literal. Like I mean I mean not literally, but like emotionally in a lot of ways. I'm standing there with wide eyes just like them, and I'm realizing again, this is what it looks like when kids are supported. This is what it looks like when they get the freedom to be curious and creative. And again, I'm not turning this into like a sad backstory. I'm just naming what's true. There were things I needed that I didn't get. So being on this journey with my kids has also become a journey of recognition for me, recognizing who they are and what they need, and recognizing what I needed and what I deserved and what I'm now able to build. And that's a big part of why homeschooling feels so emotional for me sometimes, because it is not just about academics. And this is I this is where like that intentional parenting comes in. Like you get to connect and truly see your kid and like take the time to build a relationship with them. And I also get the incredible opportunity to offer them an education that celebrates them, that reflects who they are, that makes room for their interests and their creativity and their voice and building their foundation. And I know this is my first go at parenting. And like I said, they might end up in therapy over all of this healing that I keep projecting on them, right? But, and we all don't, we don't know how all this is going to turn out, but it looks pretty cool. And when I'm hearing people, when they're, if you go on social media or like YouTube stories on kids who had an incredible, happy childhood, I don't ever envy them. I'm like, oh, well, thank you for letting me know how your parents showed up for you. And even when I'm looking at like cross culture interviews about it, I'm like, a lot of what I saw that was very similar is that they had parents that showed up for them, that parents that carved out time just for them, even when they had siblings and stuff, and truly was excited to see who they are and where they were going and what they wanted to do. So I take that information and I process it and I'm saying, is this something that I could implement? But I truly enjoy showing up for my kids. And I also want you to know, I'm not pretending I'm doing it perfectly. I'm telling myself I'm not perfect. And I know I'm not doing it perfectly because like I told you, they'll probably be in therapy over me and it's okay. I'm a work in progress, but I do hope they have the tools and support to process their lives fully. And I just hope that this gives them a strong start, like they have a good foundation and they're able to launch in whatever lives they want to create for themselves. And I hope they know, I hope all three of them can grow up under the same roof and still have three different experiences. And that doesn't mean that I failed. That doesn't mean that I had no business having three different personalities of kids. It just means I showed up and I loved them for who they authentically were. So I don't know if this was a love letter, but I just wanted to share with you guys like a really emotional moment of seeing my kid conquer a goal, and I got to be there to do that for her. And also, I know I don't ever want this to be or come off like a privileged moment either. And I don't want you to make it about like about the horseback riding lessons in itself. I don't think I ever as a kid desired to do horseback riding. But the life that that I'm able to create where I can work and create organizations and build community spaces that truly reflect the life I want to live is something powerful. And I didn't even know, say 5 years ago, that I had the ability to do this. And so if you're new to this or you're in the middle of this, I want you to also feel empowered that you have the ability to do it. You have to manifest it and dream it and claim it. And it's not going to be easy. None of this is easy. Even the moments of seeing what my inner child didn't get, it's hard AF. And then you start processing feelings like, did I not deserve it? What were my parents going through at that time? Did they have the skills or the tools? And so there's lots of layers to it. And this is just another side of homeschooling that I don't think gets discussed enough. If this episode hit you or tugged at your heart a little bit, send it to another parent who's homeschooling and feeling all the feels and trying to heal and trying to process and trying to really dive into everything into the world that homeschooling has to offer them. Share this podcast with them. And if you're in a season of doubt, let this be your reminder to look for your week 8 moments. Make sure you're following Secular Homeschool Revolution wherever you listen. Hey, please comment and share and tell me some episode ideas you have. I would love to be able to meet you guys where you need. I want to Thank you for sharing my podcast as much as you guys do. Thank you for those who have bought me a coffee. You guys are so kind. I really appreciate it. If you're interested in buying me a coffee, my information will be linked in the episode description. The link is buymeacoffee/Secular H Revolution. And this is just a way to support the work that I'm doing. And I'm just so grateful for everyone who has shared, commented. Oh, you guys have been really, really good at leaving me messages on my website. So thank you, thank you, thank you. If I haven't gotten back to you, it's because I am learning as I go through all of these things, and I couldn't figure out how to access my inbox, but I got it now. So I will be responding to messages. But I see them in my email, but for some reason it wasn't, not in my email, but like my notifications from my website. But I was clicking on it, it wasn't opening up. But I think I got it figured out. So thank you for all of the love and support. And remember, the work that you're doing is important and it is revolutionary. Until next time, stay safe.